Hello everybody. Today we'll talk about the supply and demand part 2 and the market equilibrium. In this lesson, we're going to cover the following: market equilibrium, which is the point at which demand and supply curves meet, equilibrium market revenue, equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity, shortage, surplus, movement along the curve, movement of a curve, and simultaneous curve movement, market revenue, which is the price multiplied by the quantity, percentage of change. Let us look at this exercise. After an increase in the demand for a good, what is the percentage change in the quantity and percentage change in the price? Now, how do we calculate the percentage change in the quantity and the percentage change in the price? Now, first of all, when we look at this graph over here in the vertical axis, we have the price, and in the horizontal axis, we have the quantity over here. As we can see, there's the supply curve, and we have D1, which is the demand at the beginning, and after the shift, we have the demand B over here. Now, at the beginning, at the price of 90, okay, at the first market equilibrium over here, where it's the intersection between them, you can see that the price was 90 and the quantity was 220. When there is a shift over here, and the shift takes place because of one of the factors that cause to the demand curve to shift. So over here, it's moved to this point, okay, and you can see that the price jumped to 110 and the quantity 280. Now, how can we solve this to calculate the percentage change in the quantity and percentage change in the price? To calculate the percentage change, the most important thing, you know how to calculate it. We take the new minus the old over the old multiplied by 100. So over here, now the percentage change in the quantity. As we remember, the quantity used to be 220 and now 280. So we'll take the new, which is 280 minus 220 over 220 multiplied by 100. This will give us 27.3%. So that's mean because of the shift of the demand curve, there is increase in the quantity, okay, over here demanded by 27.3%. The same thing, how do we calculate the percentage change in the price? As we see, like the price right now after the shift, it used to be 90. After the shift, it reached 110. So you can see that we'll take the new, which is the 110 minus the 90 over the 90 multiplied by 100. So the new price is 22.2%. So over here, there is a percentage change in the price. The price increased by 22.2%. Okay, let us look over here at exercise 2. What was the market revenue in the old equilibrium and what is the market revenue in the new equilibrium? Now, how do we calculate over here the revenue? So as we can see, we have over here the price was 90, the quantity 220, the price then moved to 110 and the quantity 280. How do we calculate the revenue? To calculate the revenue, we will multiply the price multiplied by the quantity. The price multiplied by the quantity. Now over here, the old equilibrium, we have the quantity was 90. Sorry, the price was 90 and the quantity 220. So over here, our old equilibrium revenue was $19,800. At the new equilibrium, because the price jumped to 110 and the quantity increased, it reached to 280, so we can see we made a profit over here, or revenue, which is equal to 30,800. Let us look at this example. Draw a supply and demand graph using the following information, we have to draw it. You have to know how to draw the supply and demand curve. Now, first of all, they provide us with this table, the supply and demand for burgers. The price of the burgers, we can see it was $1, $2, and $3, and $4. The number of the people who want to buy, that means it represents the demand over here. So the demand, when the price was 1, the demand was 100 units. A price of 2, 90, $3, 70 the demand, $4, 40 units, 40 اللي هو demand was 40. Number of burger sellers want to sell at each price. So over here, this represents what? A supply curve, because it represents the supplier. So over here we had $10, 10 units if the price was 1, because why they want to sell more? Because the price is low, so they prefer a higher price to sell more. So as we can see, the positive relationship, the higher the price, over here the higher the quantity supplied, and the opposite over here in the demand, as we have the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. You have to draw them. How do we draw them? Let us look over here. Now, over here, they draw by try to find the points. For example, for the first one, when the price was 1, the quantity was what? 10 units, which is equal over here 10 units, the quantity. So you have to put a point over here. When the price at 2, the quantity was 40. When the price at 3, you can see the quantity was 70. So by putting the points or finding the points and then link them together, you will get the supply and demand curve. Now over here, after drawing this graph, okay, let us look over here. Now, draw a supply and demand graph. Imagine there is an increase in the price of beef, which is a burger input. Okay, now over here, there is increase in the price of input. Okay, add the new supply curve information in your graph. What is the new equilibrium price and the quantity? First of all, over here there is increase in the price of the input, so it will be costly for us to produce more meat. So what will happen to the supply curve? Is it going to shift to the right or to the left? Think about it. Of course it will shift to the left, because the quantity supplied will decrease, because it will be costly for you to produce more and more burgers. So over here, what will happen? By shifting the supply curve, as we can see over here, which is the green line, the old supply was the red line. When there is over here increase in the price of the input, which is the meat, that's mean what happened? It shifts the supply curve to the new point, which is at this green line, okay, over here. So by shifting, you can see what happened. There is a decrease in what? In the quantity, in the equilibrium point, and in each quantity supplied. So there is a decrease in each quantity supplied. So over here, we will have the price increase. It was 3 and it goes up. And what happened to the quantity? Decreased. The quantity supplied decreased. Using the new supply curve, calculate the percentage change in the price and quantity. By looking at this graph over here, we will try to find out how much exactly is what the changes. So we can say the price was 3, it jumped to 3.5, and the quantity, let's say it's over here 16 or 58 maybe. Okay, let's see over here. So how much? We will calculate the percentage change in the price. The old price was 3, and now the new price is 3.5. So 3.5 minus old, which is the 3 over the 3. So over here we can see that the percentage change by 16.7%. Okay, so the price increased by 16.7%. Okay. What about over here the percentage change in the quantity? The quantity used to be 70, and now it's 58. So the new 58 minus the old 70 over 70, so it decreased by 17.5%. So over here it decreased by 17.1%. Okay, let us look over here. What is the equilibrium revenue for the coffee in this market? To calculate the equilibrium revenue, so we'll look over here. Where is the intersect between the supply and demand at this point over here? This is the point of equilibrium. How much is the price? The equilibrium price is 6. And how much is the equilibrium quantity, which is 25 over here? So to calculate it, you will multiply the 25 multiplied the 6, you will get the revenue. Okay. Now what would happen in this market if the price changed for coffee suddenly and increased to 8? If the price, it used to be 6 over here, okay, and suddenly the market, the prices of coffee increased to 8. So what will happen over here? There will be what? More supply than what? Than demand. At this point, you can see there is more. The supply curve over here at 35 points, okay, and over here the demand, which is reached to 15 units. So the supply, because increasing the price, that means the sellers, they would like to sell more, so they will produce more and more and more to make a profit. But because they have a positive relationship. But what about the demand? The demand, they will have a negative relationship. That means what will happen over here? There will be a decrease in the, will be decrease in the quantity demanded. So will be only 15 units. Now when we have the supply exceed the demand, what do we call it? Over here, at this point, at a price of $8 per pound, 15 million pounds of coffee are demanded. At the price at 35 million pound of coffee is supplied. So over here we have what? A surplus. At this point we have a surplus because the supply is more than the demand over here. Supply more than the demand. When the price rise above the equilibrium, there will be a surplus. Goods will sit unsold on shelves because no one would like to buy at a higher price. After a certain length of time, after enough of these goods pile up, shopkeeper will be forced to reduce the prices to clear the stocks, and the price will move what? Leftward along the supply curve until it reaches to the equilibrium again. So at the beginning they will produce more and more and more because the prices increase. So over here people will stop buying. People will stop buying. Now all these products will be available in shelves. Now this is considered to be a cost for them, cost of storage, all these things. So by time sellers will realize that they need to get rid of all these things because it's considered to be a cost for them. So they will start what? To reduce the prices. So it will go till it reach back to equilibrium. Now when we have excess demand or a shortage, what would happen in this market if the price charged for a coffee suddenly decreased to $4? Now if the price over here decreased to $4, that means the equilibrium was over here, now at a $4. So you can see at this point we have more demand than what? Supply. What is available because the lower prices, people would like to buy more and more and more and more. Okay, the supplier, they don't want to sell at a lower price, they want to benefit. So over here when we have more demand than supply, we call it, we have excess demand or shortage in the market. Because at this point over here, the demand is 35 units and the supply, what is available in the market, 15 units. So if the price falls below the equilibrium, the quantity demanded will exceed the quantity supplied. As this low price producer cannot make the same profit because they're selling at a lower price that can't meet the profit. This will result in queuing forming and shelves becoming empty because people will try to buy whatever is available, okay, over here because there's more demand, and shelf will end up empty. Shopkeeper, seeing this demand and empty shelves, what will happen? Will raise the prices until the market returns to equilibrium again. Note over here, it is not a government or others entity setting the prices. It is set naturally through the force of supply and demand. So based on the supply and demand, the prices will be set. Excess demand versus excess supply. Excess demand, when we have it exists when the current prices, okay, the current prices, the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supply. When over here we have the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supply, so we call it excess demand. For the excess supply exists when the current prices, the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. So as we can see over here, because when we have excess supply, how do we calculate it? That means the quantity supplied minus the quantity demanded. Because over here we have excess supply. The quantity supplied exceeds the quantity demanded. How do we calculate it? By subtracting the quantity supplied minus the quantity demanded. So we can say we have excess supply. For example, if we have the supply right now, the quantity supplied is 30 and the quantity demanded is 10. So we have an excess supply of 20 units. When do we have excess demand? Excess demand when the demand exceeds what? The quantity supply. There is more demand in the market than what is available over here. So how can we set this? So basically, how do we calculate it? Okay, for example, over here the quantity demanded is 30. Okay, and the quantity supplied is what? Let's say 10. So over here we will have excess demand of 20 because the quantity demanded minus the quantity supplied, which is equal. That means I have excess demand of 20 units. Excess and its effect on the price. When there is an excess demand for a goods, price will tend to rise. When there is more demand than what is available for goods than what is available, so the prices will tend to rise. Now the opposite of there is excess supply, more supply than demanded, so the prices will tend to fall. Demand and supply both count. Always keep in mind that that is interaction of demand and supply that determine the equilibrium price. Neither consumer nor companies can direct what the equilibrium price will be. No one can set the equilibrium price. Basically, it depends on the market. No firm can sell anything at any price unless it can find a willing buyer, and no consumer can buy anything at any price without finding a willing seller. Now let us look at this example. What is the shortage or surplus at price 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1? So if we look over here, this is the price we started over here. At the price of 5, we can see the quantity, let's say 60. Quantity supplied is 60 and the quantity demanded is 10. So over here 10 minus the 60 minus the 10, which is over here is 10, minus 60, sorry, minus 10 over here, the quantity supplied. So over here we will have an excess supply of 50 units in the market. Then we look at the second point as well. Over here, let's say maybe it's 52 units, maybe, okay, minus, let's say 18 units. So we have to subtract them and to know exactly how much do you have. So over here at the price of 5, there will be a surplus of 50 because 60 minus 10 equal to 50. At the price of 4, there will be a surplus of 32. At the price of 3, there will be a surplus of 12. At the price of 2.5, there will be no surplus, no shortage because it's the equilibrium point. And the price of 2, there will be a shortage of 10 units. And at the price of 1, there will be a shortage of 43 units. Now let us look at this exercise. Shift in supply cause disequilibrium. Now the market of pizza had equilibrium price of $8. Okay, market of pizza, they have equilibrium price at $8. However, a new pizza oven was invented that can produce more pizzas at much lower cost, because now a new technology came up. That means you can produce more at a lower cost. This causes the rightward shift because a new technology, that means it will be in our favor. I can produce more as a supplier, so it will shift the supply curve to the right. That you can see the picture of all the pizza makers buy this oven. So all the pizza makers buy this oven. Despite the cost saving of this new technology, pizza maker refused to drop the price to 8. So over here, let us look. Now the price over here, they came up with the new technology. It moved the supply curve over here from S1 to S2. So what will happen? Shift, because the new technology of the oven, it shift to the right. That means it will increase the supply. But they have refused to sell it at $6. They want to sell it at the same equilibrium price. So what will happen over here? We will end up that there is more supply, okay, and what? Less demand. Because the supply, supply at price of 8, there will be 46 units supplied, and there is only 46 units supplied and only 30 units of pizza demanded. Okay, so what will happen here over time? An increase in the supply will shift the supply curve to the right. At each price and quantity supplied will increase, as we noticed that. At the initial price at 8, there will be an excess supply with the quantity supplied at point B. There is an excess supply over here, exceeding the quantity demanded, which is at this point. Supply exceed the demand over here. The excess supply caused the price to drop because there's excess supply. No one is buying. The product will remain in the shelves. No one will buy. So as a result, this will be costly for them. So over here, what will happen? The price will start to drop till it reaches to the new equilibrium point, which is point C. Equilibrium is restored to price C. To summarize, the increase in the supply decrease the equilibrium price to 6 and increase the equilibrium quantity to to 36. Let us look at example 2 or exercise 2. Shift in the supply curve over here. The market for pizza has an equilibrium price of $8. Okay. However, the price of the key input flour has increased. Now the price of the key input flour to come up with the dough, okay, increase. So over here, what will happen? It will be costly for them to produce. So this will cause a shift for the supply curve. It will shift from S0 to S1. So there is a leftward shift over here, as you can see in the picture. Despite the increase of flour cost, the government stopped pizza maker from increasing their price. So they stopped pizza maker from increasing their price. They're supposed to sell it at the same previous price. So they have to sell it at the price of 8. Now over here we will end up having what? More demand than what? Than supply. The demand is 30,000 and the supply is only 40,000 because it's too costly for them to produce at this level. So let's see what will happen. A decrease in a supply shifts the supply curve to the left. As we mentioned, at each price any quantity supplied will decrease. At the initial price of 8 over here, with the quantity demanded at point A, the quantity demanded at point A, which is equal to 30,000 units, there is excess demand over here in the quantity demanded. And point over here, there will have what the quantity demanded exceed the quantity what supplied, which is point B. Because of this, the excess demand caused what? The prices to rise, and this will restore the equilibrium to the new equilibrium point, which is point C over here. To summarize, the decrease in supply increased the equilibrium price to $10 and decreased the equilibrium quantity to 24,000 pizza. Thank you very much. We reached to the end of the topic today. Please go through the slides, read them carefully, listen to the recording, and if you have any question, please write them down and prepare them to answer you in the question and session. Thank you very much.